Welcome to the Tea with
Pius
and Solomon, or Solo if you like. This is season 2, so if you haven't checked out season 1, please be kind to yourself and go and check out our socials, both Nabo Capital and Goshen Acquisitions, and you can just search for the Tea with Pius and Solo, and you'll be able to catch in case you're interested in catching up. Today we're just gonna tackle a couple of topics. We'll start with one that is familiar to most of us, and that has to do with the black tax. At least that's what our team told us we're supposed to talk about based on your questions and recommendations for topics. So, Pius, I mean, what would you define black tax as in the first place?
You know, I was just thinking about it. I'm like, why would they even call it black? You know, why not white tax? Why is it all bad things are called black something? Black Friday, black. Anyway.
The Black Plague. Yeah.
So, black and tax. Black somehow tends to create a picture. It's not something that people like, you know, and I don't like that association. So it's an inconvenience. Then the tax, it's like it's mandatory. So black tax, my own understanding is, you know, we find ourselves in situations, in families, in our friendships, where, you know, people reach out for help and we have to help them. We feel we just have to help them because there is no other option. When your mom or your dad or your parents, they cannot support themselves in their old age, you're trying to make it and have a breakthrough in your own personal life, but you have this burden that is you've got to carry with you, and you've got to help them, and so you literally are living a double life. So I don't know, have I got it correctly?
I don't know, man. Yeah,
we are figuring it out.
I think everyone has their own view
Yes.
on what black tax is. So you mentioned something interesting. I have the inverse view on that, or understanding of the black tax.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people have talked about it over the years, including the most recent conversation I came across was by Trevor Noah. And he was talking about the issue of the black tax. I think he was talking about it with Oprah, I could be wrong, or Ellen, one of them people. If I have to, you know, there's certain people in your life for whom it is not a burden for you to take care of and support, like children. I mean, that's an obvious one, right? I have children. I never feel like it's a burden. It's a responsibility. It's not like they sent an application form in advance saying, I want to come. Can you take care of me, feed me, take me to school, right? So, and I feel the same way about parents.
Yeah.
And I'll discuss that in terms of my own experience with parents. Being supportive to parents, loved ones, friends, others in society, in whatever way you want to define that, including a particular class I will wait until later to mention that we sort of went viral for in season 1. I think for me the issue has to do with a sense of entitlement to that support, as opposed to actually supporting.
Yeah.
So that's my understanding of the black tax, that there's a sense of you owe me, you made it, or you're doing better than me, therefore it's ours.
Yeah.
You know, like you can't be doing well by yourself. I also need, since you have more than me, therefore.
We need to share in your success.
Yes.
Yep.
And there's a place for that. Honestly, there is. I mean, this whole thing of, you know, I see people talk about how they're a self-made man or self-made woman, self-made millionaire or billionaire. There's nothing more untrue than that statement. You can't succeed on your own. You need people for everything. Hey, even the guys you sold a product or a service to, you needed them.
Yeah.
And they didn't have to buy from you or consume your product. They trusted you, you provided value, and there was an exchange of value. But without those human beings, you could not have any form of success. So in that context, for me, there's nothing wrong with sharing in whatever success is. In this case, financial. Hence the term tax. My main issue is a sense of entitlement, like it is owed to someone. And that goes all the way down to my own children. You know, I have no problem taking care of my kids. I get pleasure from taking care of my kids. I remember so I'll describe two incidences with my firstborn. I feel emotions about this young lady that I've never felt for any other human being. You look at her sideways, I will cross with your head immediately and sleep like a baby that night. I mean, I love this young lady, and that's what I call her. She turned 10 2 days ago.
Nice. What's her name?
I will avoid mentioning her name.
Okay.
Her mother will kill me for mentioning her name. I was told to let her decide when she wants her name out in public, and I'll respect that. Okay. But there was, maybe it was about 2 years ago. So we took our kids on vacation to the beach for the first time, I think 3 years ago, to the coast. And it was Diani, because I love Diani. I saved up. It took a bit of doing to do, contrary to popular belief. And so we flew the kids there. It was their first time in a plane. And they loved it, obviously. And they had a blast. And then we went the next year. So we try and do it once a year. And then we took a break, I think because of COVID. So it must have been 4 years ago was the first time. And so late last year, as the year was coming to an end, my firstborn and only daughter said to me, obviously being aware that the year is kushaing and we haven't been to Diani. So, you know, she walks up to me and she says, "Hey, Baba, you know, we haven't gone on vacation this year. When are we going back to Diani?" And I was dumbfounded. I was like, first of all, I didn't expect her to ask me, and there was a sass, an attitude in the way, like, come on, man, the year is going. Like, what's the deal, dude? Like, get your act together. So I'm interpreting the energy she was bringing. And while I have no issue whatsoever doing what I can to provide those experiences for them, I was deeply concerned about her sense of entitlement. It's not owed to her. No one owes her a trip to Diani. It's not her right. It's a privilege. A serious one at that. And I'm conscious of that. And so as a parent, I'm concerned that what am I doing wrong to make her feel like she is owed a trip to Diani every year. That's my problem. Entitlement. And therefore this notion of black tax. That's my view on it.
I agree with you, and you touch on a very important subject for me, which is a cultural thing. When, you know, your parents came from very difficult background, they worked their socks off, they came to the city, they worked their way up the corporate ladder or whatever business that they were doing, and now they are successful. And their intention is to make sure that you do not experience the same hardship that they experience. And I've had the privilege of sitting down with wealthy, old locals. And one of them put it in a native language, trying to interpret it in English, that I was trying to straighten the wire, but in the process of straightening the wire, I broke the wire. What he was basically saying, I wanted to give my children a lifestyle that will spare them the challenges that I experienced, but in the process, I spoiled them. And now, I'm in my 80s with all these dependents around me, and I'm the only one who can still do what we need to do as a family to create wealth. Everybody else is a dependent. So it's a subject that I'm very passionate about. Earning versus begging. When we teach our children that whatever they ask, they get, then you're building a culture of entitlement where people are just, even when they are in their 20s and their 30s, they will still be saying, can you give me? But they don't ask themselves, what can I do for you? Because how this world is run by adding value. Is run by people asking themselves, how can I add value to you? The reason why we are seated here with my good friend Solo, we've asked ourselves, how can we add value to these young people in their 20s and 30s? And we are investing behind it. And we hope to see you guys in years to come flourishing, because we are not giving you money, we are giving you wisdom. We're sharing nuggets. So I think it's a cultural thing because of historical things that has led to entitlement. But what do we need to do now to change that? So that's one angle about it.
Yeah.
The second thing that I would like to say is there is nothing wrong with helping. There is absolutely nothing wrong with charity and wanting to give and wanting to help the less fortunate. And there's a space for that, and we should continue doing it. But I go by what Jesus was saying when he was gathering his disciples. I'll make you fishers of men. And that statement was very intentional because he knew his time here was very short. And he wanted to leave them fully equipped that even when he is not here, they will continue with the mission. Our job, our primary job is when I find somebody who is needy, is not just to give them, is to really guide them on what are you good at, or what can you become good at? And how can I make you less dependent on me so that you can have your own life and you can be able to live without depending on me? Because even me, I'm not immortal, I'm mortal, you know? So big topics there I'm touching on. If you have perspectives you'd like to add.
I mean, yeah, that's I think every human being has that experience.
Yes.
So I mean, you know, we were told to sort of think about the effects of the black tax.
Yeah.
You have any story to share about how that affected you? The issue of the black tax. Obviously, this has to do with people withdrawing from you. Has that had any effect on you?
Absolutely. And maybe first of all, let me share from a business point of view. So 2018, I spent quite a bit of time meeting people in diaspora. I was visiting the diaspora, and I just wanted to feel their pain points. What are their pain points? And one of them that was very clear is how much money they send on a monthly basis back home so they can help their loved ones. Actually, this big remittance number that we like boasting about, it is not about investing. Majority of it is really just consumption. And the average number that I was getting that is sent back home per person is about 20,000 shillings. It was $200. Is it $200?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, $200.
150 today.
Yeah, 150 today. So I felt this was very disturbing for me because then it raises a question: what happens if that person loses their job? What happens if that person dies? What happens if that person's life is disrupted? That they cannot continue sending this $200 back home. It means it would have a ripple effect. There will be so many people who will be affected. Kids will not go to school, some people will sleep hungry, and we came back with that feedback, and I asked my team, what can we do to sort out this need? And they came up with a very interesting proposal that if someone, whoever has such kind of dependence, if they put together a portfolio of about, I think it was about 4 million, is it 4 million, or I don't mind the number, the accuracy of the number. If you put a portfolio of X amount, we can be able to be sending money to that relative from that portfolio without eroding the value of the portfolio for as long as that money will be there. And that means we cut off dependency between these two entities. And I was very excited about that. So that's one example I can give that I know is happening, and we as NABO, we are trying to sort out.
Yeah. How about personally?
Personally, my experience has been largely very difficult to cut off dependence, because you want to give, you want to help, but you want to go beyond helping so the person is able to have their own business. But the biggest challenge with this is that the idea is coming from you and not from the person. So you're birthing a business idea and you're trying to give it to someone else, and they don't have the same passion and vision as you. So when you fund it, those kind of businesses have tended to go down. So it's a bit of a dilemma.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten much breakthrough.
So what would you say the impact has been on you, the effect of that on you?
Yeah, so for me, what has helped is the fact that we've always, as a family, had a budget for charity on a month-by-month basis. We have a list of people that we support regularly, and some of them, there's really no other way. They are aged and they need medication. Others are going to school, and no one else can pay the school fees, and you just have to factor it in. So we just budget it. That's a very important thing, and then separate it from everything else. So the aspect of budgeting helps to just ask the question, what's the best use of this budget?
Yeah.
And I also believe God has blessed my family a lot because of that giving. So it's not something we do painfully, it's something we do joyfully. But we are very careful about who we put in that budget. We have a rule at home. If you don't have food to eat and a place and a shelter, we'll always be there to help you. But the emergencies that we don't take, like I needed to go somewhere and I don't have enough money, we don't take some unnecessary emergencies. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But if you don't have food and you don't have a place to sleep,
yeah,
we'll do whatever we need to do.
Okay.
To help.
All right, thank you so much for tuning in. Those of you who are watching virtually, we really appreciate you taking time to listen in with the audience here. We are so grateful for the opportunity to share our experiences. Hopefully it adds value to your lives. We hope you'll continue to stay tuned. We'll have more episodes coming up. If you have any questions, please send them through. Make comments. Make sure you like the videos and subscribe and share them only with people that you like, please. We'll look forward to seeing you next time. I am Solomon.
And I'm Pius Mushiri.
And this is the T.